Hi everyone, my name is Ido. I'm the co-founder and CEO of SafeMode, and we are helping fleets to be more profitable and to eliminate road accidents. We are doing that by monitoring and rewarding drivers for safety and efficiency. Now, it's a huge problem. Fleet operators lose a lot of money because of their drivers' poor behavior. Accidents, unnecessary fuel consumption, extra maintenance cost, higher insurance premium. The avoidable cost in the US alone is $70 billion annually. Now, fleet managers know that. They are trying to get visibility into that by installing hardware and sensors, and they overwhelm with data. Unfortunately, this data is not actionable, and the reason is these guys, the drivers. Drivers just don't care. They have much power because of 60,000 driver shortage and 80% annual driver turnover. It's eliminated the ability of managers to use discipline and to enforce drivers to improve their behavior. It's a lose-lose situation when the drivers don't have any interest to improve their behavior, fleets losing a lot of money, and all the other stakeholders like insurance also losing their shares. And this is how we solve the problem. The first drivers in the engagement platform. We create a win-win situation where a driver have a buy-in to drive better. We incentivize them and provide them bonuses based on their safety and efficiency. Fleets getting their shares by increasing the safety and efficiency, cutting their expenses based on their driver behavior. And all the other stakeholders like insurance companies and car manufacturers get their profit. So how it works? Our software integrate with existing hardware that fleets already have. They don't need to invest in any new hardware. It's available in the last 3 years, both because of regulatory and other trends that push all the industry to create connected vehicles. So we collected all the data, automate all the process for managers, and free their time. They don't need to stare at these dashboards and wasting their time trying to analyze data. Now we are taking all the data and provide drivers an app. Within this app, drivers can only post their shifts and post their working day. We are not distracting them while driving. How they drove, can see their routes, their events during their shifts, and moreover, they can see what they earn as a result of their behavior. They can also coach themselves to drive better tomorrow and to earn more funds and more bonuses based on their improvement. And it's actually worked. This data that I will show you, it's a 6-month deployment on 100 trucks that prior to SafeMode tried the most advanced solutions and sensors like Mobileye and fleet management platforms and telematics. After installing SafeMode, this is the results that they reporting. They reduced 62% of the road accidents, worth them $1.3 million. They saved 5% of their fuel consumption, and moreover, they increased 30% of their drivers' retention. What showed you that drivers like that. Drivers are more loyal, more engaged to the fleets, happy to keep their jobs. We believe that it's a huge opportunity. There are multi-billion-dollar companies dominating the fleet management category and the sensors, hardware, and cameras categories. They provide a lot of value to the fleet managers and to the vehicles. But as the summit discussed today, we believe that humans are first. We are shifting the focus to the driver, and we believe that is a huge market to dominate. Drivers are the most common profession in the state, and by providing the value to them and creating this driver-first solution, we can be the multi-billion-dollar company in this industry. And we have the right team to make it happen. We are serial entrepreneurs, 3 of them. We have 2 professors researching driver behavioral modification in the last decade, professor for AI, the guy from MIT, and professor for behavioral economics who research alongside the recent Nobel Prize winner. And we have the best industry experts to support us, like Uber head of driver experience and FICO's CEO. So to recap, we are domain experts with the best team to make it happen. We are operating in $70 billion underserved market with no clear dominator. And we have a unique behavioral platform that's proven with its results. We achieved all of that with only pre-seed of $300,000, and we'll start our next funding round in early 2020. So if it's interesting you, please come and speak with us in our booth. And before I'm finishing, I will be happy to show you a video that our partners in Volvo created for us to launch our partnership with them next month.
My name is Jenny Ellsberg, and I head up the Innovation Lab in Mountain View. We have 900,000 connected trucks, buses, construction equipment today, and all that data can be utilized where we can help drivers of today to become more safe and more effective as drivers. And we have learned from many of our customers that there is a lack of drivers and operators. SafeMode is a very interesting partner because of the focus on changing the driver behavior by working with the driver, which is really attractive to Volvo because it's really putting the focus on the man or woman behind the steering wheel, the power to become a better, safer, more effective driver. We hope we can take this forward together.
Interesting problem you're solving. Congrats. But my first question here is, for example, in countries like the UK, we get telematic devices which we agree and fit it into our cars. My premium comes down by 30%. So you are, in effect, fighting with insurance companies to, provide a device which, because even these devices give the drivers the discount based on their driving pattern, the time of the road use, and also which routes they take, and their profession as well. They have many variables which they use to calculate the premiums. So are you connected with any insurance businesses, or is this something which is a different niche area?
Yes, we started to work with some insurance companies, but going after the commercial side of the business and not after private drivers. Eventually private drivers drive for 20-30 minutes a day. These truck drivers drive for 12 hours a day. Their accident is way more severe than a private driver. So we're going after this market segment, and the average driver loses around $25,000 for their fleet operators. Some portion of that is the insurance. So insurance is some part of the stakeholders of this win-win game, but eventually the fleets have a lot of interest to apply that. So there is some similarities in the concept, but fleet drivers have more interest. We can benefit them more. Eventually insurance can give $100, $200 a driver a year. These fleets can pay them up to these $25K to create this win-win.
The introduction of SafeMode to a truck and the use by a driver, I understand that certainly involves the fleet operator, but when it comes to the driver, is that typically on a voluntary basis, or is that on a mandatory basis simply required by the fleet owner? What do you foresee and what have you practiced so far?
So we suggest fleets to offer it not as a mandatory part and not to create a policy for that, because eventually drivers have the benefits to use it. If they want to use that, they will earn more, they will get more incentives. If they don't want to use that, they can get back home in the end of the month with the same paycheck. We see that 85% of drivers are very eager to use that. Around 10 to 15% of drivers are more conservative and hesitate, and after a month or two of using, they see the other drivers using that earn more, they have the interest to do that. All the data is already exists in the fleet managers, so we are not creating any big brother solution, but making accessibility for the data, that the driver can see that, and they have an interest to use that and improve their behavior.
Your case study, was it done, and where was it done?
It's done in Israel on a public logistic company.
Okay, so is your main consumer going to be in Israel predominantly, or do you want to grow your company?
So we are focusing on the American market. We started in Israel because we are an Israelis, and it was easy for us to start the POCs and pilots. And we got some funding from an American accelerator, Alchemist, in San Francisco. We opened a new office in San Francisco and trying to scale in America. This partnership we're doing with Volvo, we launch it next month in Michigan with one of Volvo clients, another multi-billion-dollar transportation company that will implement our solution to the whole operation in Michigan. So this is our target market.
Okay, so because I wanted to address the American, big rig market. We call them big rigs. But because I am in human trafficking, one of the things that I do know is that many times with these drivers, they're involved in what is basically their truck stops, prostitution. And so I bring that up because, well, it could be part of your, if you found out the right information and the data, it could be part of the solution to what you keep calling behavioral study, the behavior of these drivers. So in America, for instance, there is a culture, and the culture has, you can find the culture of drivers to have a particular kind of behavior. Some of the behavior will include these truck stops where prostitution happens and the driver then becomes part of what is ultimately a trafficking industry and human trafficking, sex trafficking. So I bring that up, one, just to let you have that information, because in the human trafficking effort that we have in the US, it's a big problem. All of the trucks that have to pass in certain areas, like for instance, I'm from a state called Kansas, and there's a huge highway that says intersection for everybody, and this is where a lot of that kind of activity happens. So just talking in the culture of behavior, that's a little piece of information I'll share with you. And then, I don't know that I love the idea that you're watching the behavior, because you do see also in that culture kind of like a mentality of like less reverent towards the culture. They're less reverent, like they don't, I don't know. It's not an idealized or looked at as a career that's like, wow, you know, I want to grow up and be a truck driver. You know, they don't have that. Well, I don't experience that, at least in the States. So I love that you're kind of studying the culture, the behavior of these drivers, and the wrecks that happen in the U.S. at least. And these big trucks is significant, especially during bad weather and things like that. So I love what you're doing. I think it could be great. But in your efforts to correct or improve behavior of drivers, I would look into really even more bigger issues like I shared. So good job to you guys. I think it's awesome.
Thank you. I believe that, again, it's the most common profession in the state, so there is different topics that we can involve our system, but when we will win the driver race and will be the dominator of this segment, we can offer different solutions, different offerings for these drivers, and create their working place more engaged and more affordable for them, and increase their level in the society. So, thank you everyone. Oh, sorry.
So how do you think about the imminent rise of long-haul self-driving trucks, and how's that going to affect your marketplace? Self-driving vehicles.
So the short answer is that eventually our technology will accelerate and enable this technology, because now these vehicles learn how to drive, but they don't know how to localize their behavior with the coexistence with human drivers surrounding them. So in 10 years from now, 1% of the vehicles will be autonomous, still with 99% with human-driven cars, and these human-driven cars will crash into the autonomous cars because they don't know how to localize their behavior, and they don't know who are the humans surrounding them. Now, our technology knows to understand who are the humans, to predict their next behavior, and to help autonomous vehicles prevent all of these topics and all of these events with the human car surrounding them. This is the short answer. The long answer is that the coexistence will happen in the next 3-4 decades, when we'll still have a massive and enormous amount of drivers, human drivers, and someone need to treat them, someone need to shift the focus for them, and not just to create this big brother mechanism on them. And again, once dominating this market, when these guys in 4 decades will look for another solution, another working place, we will be able to help them and offer them, because we will dominate this market. So, thank you.